Hello everybody, welcome to live coverage of rounds 10, 11 and 12 of Season 1 of the 2014 BSR Carrera Cup. Scott Woodward here alongside Marcus Naris and Kyle Young to guide you through all the action. And after three very action-packed race weekends that we've had at Brands Hatch, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and then at, I forget the last event, that's fresh, the Silverstone, we now head back across the pond to America, and Road America in fact, the circuit that's situated at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It's been hosting races since 1955 and it is one of the US's most fantastic circuits. It's always well loved and it should be set for three fantastic races here tonight in the Carrera Cup. Let's bring in Marcus and Carl. First of all guys, how are you doing tonight?
Very well, thank you Scott.
And yourself, Carl?
Great.
Excellent stuff. Well, let's just go forwards into how the championship looks coming into rounds 10, 11 and 12. But amazingly, the man that tops the table is Anders Dahl for Team iRacing Denmark. DK. Top 5s and 7 top 10s. But amazingly, guys, he leads the championship without winning a single race. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting. You know, it's a reasonable lead as well, given the scoring method this season. So, 17 points is, gives Anders the luxury of not having to go hell for leather for the win. He can comfortably sit in second or third place and, pick up good results. And that's what he's been doing. We saw last week a couple of the Team GT Italia guys have a reasonably poor outing, finishing down in the 20s and the 30s, while Anders kept it in the top 10, and I'm sure that's all he'll be trying to do for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It really shows how important consistency is, and it's not always about winning races. It's about finishing those races and finishing them well. It's very interesting to see that so far. I know a lot of his top competitors have been up there winning a couple of races here and there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue that run, if those top 10s and top 5 finishes will be good enough to keep him atop the point standings, or if he is going to have to stick his nose in there and try to win a couple of these races.
I think we also have to agree that one man that really stood out from the weekend at Brands Hatch, the last time at the last broadcast that we had, was definitely Ben Tustin, because I think a lot of people have been raving about that sensational drive that he had from 27th on the grid to 3rd in the space of 15 laps. I mean, guys, you were there watching it. Just what kind of a drive was that, and how does that rank among all the other sim racing drives that you've seen across your time commentating and racing in iRacing and other sims?
Yeah, it was pretty strong. I mean, it was a great run. What made it all the more impressive for me was that he did it without registering any incident points. And for those that are familiar with iRacing, they'll know that means that in making those places up on probably the tightest, twistiest circuit we see all season, he didn't put a wheel off the track. There was no significant contact with any other cars. It was very aggressive, very fast, but incredibly clean racing, and that was the thing that stood out for me. It was absolutely faultless. There were no mistakes in there at all. Whether he can reproduce that, that's a question to be answered. It's a very different circuit this week, but yeah, it was one of the best drives I've certainly ever seen.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. He had a very short amount of time to work with there. He worked his way through the majority of the field at a very short track in a very short amount of time and did it clean. It was definitely one of the best, if not the best, sim racing drives I've ever seen in my experiences being a sim racer. It was definitely impressive, and it'll be interesting to see how he does here this week at Road America.
Now, speaking of the circuit Road America, we're talking long straights, long corners, very fast. One of those old school circuits that you don't really see very many of left in the US because they've all either died out or they've been modified over the years, or some of the newer circuits like Circuit of the Americas are coming through as being premier racing venues. But Road America itself does present its own challenges. As we said, it's a high-speed venue, so compared to, as you said, somewhere like Brands Hatch, these guys are going to be reaching speeds of about 150, 160 miles an hour down the straights. So one of the key parts is going to be slipstream, but also braking as well. We're going to see some big braking moves into some of these corners here, guys.
Yeah, the first time down the moraine sweep into turn 5 will be interested. As you said, Scott, there, the quick guys are hitting 160 before they climb on the brakes there, and they're braking all the way down to 50 mile an hour. We've got 41 cars here, so it'll be interesting.
Your thoughts on that one, Carl? What do you think of how does Road America rank for you as a circuit, if it's one that you've driven on?
Yeah, Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how these guys take it. Long straightaways for sure, and they end into really tight tight turns and slow down turns. So you got to be really careful on the brakes not to lock them up and hurt your engine in the turns.
Well, apparently we have got green flag. Apologies that we're not providing commentary yet because I'm still trying to get into the room. So, but guys, if you guys want to fill in for the moment as to what you're seeing right now, once they get in, but see what kind of a start we had so far.
Yeah, we've seen inevitably there's contact in turn one. You know, there were 2 or 3 of the cars kind of down in the 8th, 10th position that got together. I mean, it's a 90-mile-an-hour kink corner, so there's always going to be problems. As we speak, we've just seen Ricardo Chavon spin out of the lead, promoting Michael Booth up to the first place. He's got Ben Tusting right behind him, pushing him hard, obviously trying to capitalise on what he did last week. Hermano y Palumbo sitting comfortably in third, just keeping a bit of a watching brief there. Yeah, interesting start, guys. It's certainly been action-packed, and 3 changes for the lead already.
To correct you on that there, Marcus, that was actually Diego Comuni who spun himself out. He got past there for the lead into that tight turn after that long straightaway there, and looks like he may have gotten onto the gas a little bit too hard and spun himself out there. He drops all the way back into the field. I'm looking at the guy in front of him right now. It's Daryl Taylor in 28th spot, so he's right around the 30th place position. So a tough break for Diego Comuni. He wasn't really mentioned a ton last week, and started out this race on the right path, getting the pole, but made a tiny mistake, and that's going to cost him a ton of spots.
So as we come to the end of the first lap, it's Michael Booth now in the lead after the unfortunate demise again of Diego Comuni following a similar set of circumstances in 2 of the races last week. And he's very closely being pushed by Ben Tusting. In the warm-up, you know, certainly Ben was one of the faster drivers, and he'll be looking to try and get past Michael as quickly as he can do and really capitalise on Diego's misfortune. Coming down into turn 1, their holding station, it looks fairly comfortable, certainly within the top 5 or 6. The first real battle is slightly further down the circuit. Again, we've got a Team Italia GT driver in Angelo Di Mello, putting Paul Thurston under some pressure, but it's pretty much as you were as we go down the moraine sweep into turn 5 for the second time.
And also what's also key looking is at Anders Dahl, in 5th position, actually trying to make a move on Skirvon down towards turn 3. Can he get the job done? Not quite. He can't outbrake the man in front of one of the GT Italia guys, but Ben Tusting holding station in 2nd place. And guys, this is, I think, is where he preferred to be at Brands Hatch. He's up in 2nd place, up racing at the front where I think he deserved to be, and just obviously having much better luck than he did last time at Brands Hatch as they bring it through down towards. I'm trying to bring my track map up in a minute, but they're making their way towards this carousel. Now the thing is, guys, this carousel on this layout circuit that we have, not as prominent as it would have been on the traditional there, because we do have this S-bend coming up on the exit of the carousel, and usually the exit out of here fires you onto the back section with as much speed as possible. But here, these guys are jumping straight back onto the brakes just shortly after, so they come underneath the bridge into turns 10A and B. So they turn left and then right, back towards the run towards Canada Corner. So would I be right in assuming that the run off of the carousel is not as crucial as it would have been without the chicane?
I definitely would have to agree with that. You know, these guys, they don't have a lot of time after they get off the carousel to set themselves up and then get prepared for that bend here, which is probably a lot different from what a lot of these guys are used to racing here at Road America. You don't really see this configuration being used a lot around the iRacing service, so hopefully these guys have gotten used to that already. It could be a struggle, you know, these guys. Like
we got
I said,
sorry to cut across your car. We got a big wreck on the back straight there, coming down through Kettle Bottoms into Canada Corner, turn 12. It looks like Patrice Longley has got it horribly wrong there, and there's 4 or 5 cars that, you know, have been caught up in that. Obviously, that's one of the fastest part of the circuits, and we ended up with 3 or 4 cars parked across the circuit, and the inevitable happened. So sorry to cut across you, but we've now got it looks like 4 or 5 cars either sitting in the pit lane or making their way to the pit lane.
So down the back straight as they come off of turn 2 for the 3rd time. Booth has now extended his leads now just over 6/10 of a second, and Tusting himself has pulled out to a further 7/10 from Palumbo in 3rd. Skirbon now just forming a bit of a train of cars behind him, which is now led by Anders Dahl with Jamie Wilson, Nick Tyson, James Yates, Luigi Nespolina, who was also in contention for a victory at Brands Hatch at one point last time out there in 9th. Simon Trent rounding out the top 10. The top 10 separated by just over 5 seconds, so it's still looking fast and frantic, but the top 3 already starting to pull away, with Michael Booth in the 911 car pulling away from Ben Tusting in the 064. And these 3 seem to be the class to field at this weekend so far. But of course, remember, we've had 8 different winners from the first 9 races. The only man that's actually won more than 1 race this season was Jan-Paul Niehuis. Jan-Paul, I don't believe, is actually here this weekend. So another chance to add possibly our 9th different winner in the first 10 races. And if things go to plan for Michael Booth, he could be that man.
He definitely could. It's always a good thing to get a good start off to the beginning of the race. But this is a very, very long racetrack. It's a 4-mile racetrack. We have 8 laps, so they're coming to complete their 3rd lap. So it takes a while to get around this track, and the race itself takes a bit to happen. So, you know, he may be feeling confident right now, you know, feeling good. But in reality, there's still quite a bit of racing to go. And if we learned anything from last week, it's that Ben Tusting does not give up, and he will not go away. So it's always very assuring to have a good start to any race. But at least through these last set of corners, looks like Tusting may have shortened that gap a little bit, and might be just plotting to run down Michael Booth. Now, something to bring up here with these long straightaways, is the draft going to play into any factor here? Is, like, you know, Ben Tusting trying to run down Michael Booth for that lead?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, you know, Michael Booth is certainly no slouch. I mean, that's something to bear in mind. I mean, Tusting is obviously a very strong driver, but Michael Booth is one of the, you know, the most experienced guys in the UK and I team, certainly, and runs a lot of high-power rear-wheel drive cars as his series of choice. So, you know, he's not going to be worried at all about, you know, being aggressive in defending that lead. And I think Ben's going to find him a much tougher proposition than some of the guys last week.
Just looking at in the bottom half of the top 10, but a few shuffles going around. Jamie Wilson went wide on the exit of Canada corner, which means now we're going to change around from 6th down to 10th. It's now held by Nick Tyson in the number 9, with James Yates now ahead of his teammate Wilson in 8th. As I think, is that Nespolina going straight? Someone's gone straight. That might be Simon Trendell going straight on at turn 3. I can have a look at that on my screen if it'll let me click.
Yeah, no, as you look at that
field,
Anders Dahl has parked his rough right on the rear bumper of Ricardo Chavon in front of him, and he's certainly looking racy. I'm not sure if he's just got the message that, you know, some of his main competition within the championship is struggling in this race, but he all of a sudden has come alive, and he's literally pushing that number 86 Italia GT racing machine along.
Yeah, literally pushing his ready. He almost got into the back bumper there as they worked their way into the bend. Once again, Karen lap number 4 tucked up right behind that number 86, trying to reel him in and make that pass. As we had mentioned, he is the points leader heading into tonight's events, so you know he is going to want to do as well as he can. And right there, heading into Canada corner, he's going to make the pass on Ricardo Chavon for the 4th spot. Clears him now and is going to try to work and pull away. Chavon, however, right back up onto the rear bumper as they work their way into turn number 14 and down the long front straightaway. Anders Dahl has a few car lengths in between him now as they come off the turn, and he's going to try to run away from him here now down the straightaway and try to chase down his teammate Armando Palumbo.
And what I think one comfort that Anders Dahl can take away at the moment is the fact that he's the man that's second in the championship, Angelo De Mella, is down in 11th, so he's quite a way away in front of him. But of course, that doesn't change the fact that he is being pressured by one of the GT Italia cars, of course, one of De Mella's teammates, Skirbon, as he knows exactly what Dahl did to him a lap ago, and just sits on that rear bumper of the number 03 car. The championship leader is now into 4th position here at Road America as we head into the beginning of the second half of the race. Now, just in front of them, I can see that Michael Booth does have Ben Tusting on his back bumper as they head down towards turn 3. And if I can looks like he might be looking to possibly make a pass, looks and thinks about it, but just darts back in behind the number 911 car. With Palumbo not too far away, he's dropped back to roughly around 1.3 seconds behind the leader. 1.3 seconds, he's a further 1.3 seconds back behind the leader. But these two have already pulled out a gap of about 4.5 seconds between the leader Booth and 4th place Anders Dahl, but now he has that clean air. He has every chance to possibly try and make it a 4-car scrap by the end of the next couple of laps, provided he can get away from Skiervon. And Skiervon himself is now coming under attack from Tyson, who really has put his foot down and is closing the gap down to about 1.1 seconds. That's how much it was at the stripe when they began lap 5. But it looks as though Tyson definitely has a lot of relevant pace. He's closing in on that 86 car pretty quickly.
Yeah, and just an update on what happened with some of the guys that unfortunately got caught up in accidents earlier in the race. Looking at Diego Comuni now down in 21st place, stuck pretty completely behind Jean-Francois Boscus, who's quite rightly, doing everything he can to keep him behind him. They're racing for position, and yeah, he's struggling to get past the number 102 car in front of him. It'll be interesting to see what his progress through the race is like. Just as I say that, he finally makes the pass and he'll be off up the road, certainly trying to make up as many positions as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like I mentioned, just such a tough break for him to, he struggled last week at Brands Hatch quite a bit and had some early success grabbing the pole for this race, and then made just a slight mistake there in turn 5 in the first lap. Just probably got on the accelerator just a little bit too hard, and with as many competitors as we have here again tonight at Road America, he just had to wait for that big long line of cars to get by. And then I think he's worked his way up through the field since the incident. I know that there was a couple incidents that happened, but I think he was around 28th to 29th or so when he finally got going. So I'm going to assume that he has moved up quite a few spots since then, now that he's sitting in 21st. So making the move, but still, he's got only a few cars within a few seconds, and the laps are starting to tick down. So it'll be crucial for him to get in as many spots as he can within these last few laps, as we got a side-by-side battle for the lead now.
Indeed, Booth and Tustin going at it, hammer and tongs for the lead. And if my screen will let me switch, if I can get it done, my screen's actually sticking on the battle what's going on between 5th and 6th for Tustin. Well, there we go. So Booth now has Tustin once again all over. I just mentioned battle for 5th and 6th. We did have a change between Tyson and Skiervon. Tyson managed to get the move done on the exit of Canada corner at near the end of lap 5. As they make their way through the left-hander towards the carousel once again, this long right-hander. There's a lot of strain on the left-hand side, especially if you think about the left front. And careful that tyre doesn't overwear too much. And let's see, now these relatively hard braking zone, they brake underneath the bridge, and once again they'll turn left and right through turns 10A and 10B. And just to see how much Tustin closes under braking, with Palumbo just sat there, just quietly sat there in the background. But what kind of an exit Tustin got? A superb exit. In fact, he's now starting to draw level alongside Michael Booth to head through Kettlebot Bottoms and down towards Canada corner. He's got that inside line that he needs to make the pass for the lead. Here he comes then, Ben Tustin going for the lead in race 1 here at Road America, gets the job done, slides down the inside, and there he goes. But has he run too deep? Because here comes Booth on the exit. There's a bit of body contact, and Booth tries to go back around the outside, but Tustin's having absolutely none of it and parks that number 64 car right in front. Booth thinks about another move into the final corner, can't get it done, and all this battling down, bringing Palumbo back into play now as we head towards the penultimate lap. Anders Dahl is 4.3 seconds behind this leading battle, and he's trying to close in. He has pulled away from Tyson, who himself has pulled about a 0.3 of a second gap from Skiervon. It's all to play for now, with just 2 laps to go as we head on to lap 7 of 8 in this first race of Road America.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, great battle up front. It's almost the polar opposite to last week. It's the guys with the racecraft that are proving their worth. Michael Booth now trying to get desperately back past Ben Tustin as they, drive onto the main straight, and this is where, if there is any draft, we'll see it. We've got a 3-car pack now, and the 2 cars behind will certainly be trying to take advantage of any draft they can and make a move down into turn 5.
Looks like Booth's going to peek to the inside here. We'll see if he tries to outbrake him. He indeed does. He pulls up next to Ben Tustin there. They're still side by side in the exit. Maybe a little contact there. Tustin clips the grass just a little bit. All clean and green though. They continue side by side, and Tustin is going to clear him in turn 6 on the outside. A fantastic move to get that spot back on the outside of the turn nonetheless. And all this battling between these top two is just reeling in Armando Palumbo even more and giving even Anders Dahl a shot to catch up and make it a 4-car battle.
If Anders Dahl can close in this final lap and a bit, this could definitely be a fantastic finish. We saw an epic battle towards the end of race 3 when in Brands Hatch, when the top 5 was separated by less than 1.5 seconds, and we could have it again right here in the first race from Road America. We've still got 2 more battles left to go. Palumbo trying to go to the outside of Booth, down towards turns 10A and B, not far enough alongside. He forced him to brake him, so goes a little too deep, and around the outside at turn B. Turn 10B. What an awesome move from Palumbo to get those in front, and they'll go side by side towards Kettlebottoms. Tusting is away and gone. He said, "See you later, boys. Battle amongst yourselves. I'm going off to try and grab my first race victory of the season."
And what that has done, that's brought Anders Dahl into play for the second place. He's now very, very close in a group of 3, fighting for second, third, and fourth. And we've seen before, if anyone's got the racecraft to make that happen, it's Anders Dahl, and he'll be keen to minimise his loss to Ben Tusting in terms of championship points just to 1 point.
Here they come then towards the final corner. They're going to start the last lap, and look at how much of a gap Tusting's pulled away. He's literally hit the button and absolutely streaked away. Look at the gap already. He's left these 3 for dust as they come over the crest and towards the pit straight for the final, towards the start of the final lap. So Tusting has already a 2.4 second advantage. That's how fast he is. As Palumbo looks to the inside to grab second place from Booth into turn 1. Is he far enough alongside? No. Booth chops across the front of the 34 car and holds on to that second place. But Anders Dahl is right there. He can sense a podium finish. He can sniff a step on the rostrum, and it can happen if these 2 cars in front of him, Palumbo and Booth, both come to blows. Down the first of the many back straights here at Road America for the final time underneath the Sargento Bridge and towards turn 3. This is going to be pretty crucial here. Palumbo trying to go to the outside. Which way is he going to go? Outside pass he's looking for down towards turn 3. Can he get it done? Under brakes, and Dahl's going to sit back and watch the fireworks come to life as Dahl gets almost up the inside on the exit. What a great race so far. Half a lap to go or so. We've got a great battle for second place, but Ben Tusting is just away and gone.
Yeah, this battle for second place certainly isn't over. I think we're going to see more fireworks. Certainly, we've got the run out of the bend down through Kettlebottoms and into Canada Corner, and you could see the intention. Anders Dahl is happy to sit there. If either of these cars runs wide, as he did coming into turn 5, he'll just poke his nose up the inside and see what he can make stick. It's heading for a great finish between these 3 cars with, as you say, Ben Tusting off into the distance.
Yeah, for sure. Now this battle is starting to allow Nick Tyson to reel into the back bumper of Anders Dahl. Only a few corners to go, but Tyson is right there in case anything happens between these 3. He'll be able to pounce and take a couple spots for himself. Don't think anybody else is going to be able to join in on this battle, as it looks like Ben Tusting is going to win this race. He has 1 lapped car in front of him and he's going to have to deal with it. Oh, and there's contact there. Palumbo gets into the rear corner. Michael Booth turns him around. There's at least 5, 6 spots lost for Michael Booth, and the battle still rages on up there for that second spot.
But incredibly, this man put in a fantastic drive, but he hasn't won a race all season until now. What a final couple of laps from Ben Tusting. Look at the gap he has. He's almost on his own. Up across the crest for the final time. Ben Tusting claims a sensational first win of the championship in race 1 at Road America. And second place looks as though it's going to go to Palumbo, with Dahl on the podium in 3rd. Tyson gets 4th, and after the contact, Michael Booth is going to come down way down the first. Skiavon comes 5th. James Yates is 6th. And then we've got Demella 7th, Trenthal 8th, Wilson 9th. Michael Booth was in 2nd place with a couple of corners to go. He ends up in 10th. 13.5 seconds away from the race winner. Michael Booth will feel absolutely hard done by it, and I'm sure there's going to be some harsh words to Armando Palumbo about that move down at Canada Corner, because that certainly did cost him a podium spot and a heck of championship points as the rest of the cars coming through. But what a finish from that. And guys, how would you feel? I'm pretty sure you would feel hard done by if you were in Michael Booth's position, because really he had it almost in 2nd place. He was coming under a lot of pressure, and then Palumbo just tried to move down the inside, didn't work, and look at how much it's cost Michael in terms of positions and championship points.
Yeah, it was an optimistic move in the extreme by Palumbo there. I've just watched it again from his point of view, and there certainly wasn't a realistic gap there. There wasn't any significant overlap. He's He's literally just poked his nose up the inside of Booth there, knowing Booth's going to turn in, and he's just let Booth turn in and turn himself around across his nose. It's yeah, it's optimistic is probably the polite way to put it. But if I were Michael Booth, I certainly wouldn't be very happy right now.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be either. You know, you have such a good run going. He got out front and was able to lead some laps after he made the pass on Diego Comuni, and then Comuni made the mistake and spun himself around. Was able to lead the majority of the first half of this race, and was still going to finish probably within the top three, if not fourth place at the absolute worst. But you know, it's kind of one of those risk versus reward things. Did he know if he was onto the inside of him or not, or did he know and he tried to pinch him off and didn't realize that he had such a good run to the inside of him? So it's a tough break, but there is a silver lining to this story. Michael Booth is going to be on the pole for race number 2.
Absolutely, of course, we do reverse the top 10, so I guess there is some kind of, I guess there is a kind of a positive side to the fact, if there is any positive being spun around, that the fact of the 10th place that he has had to settle with in race 1, he does now mean he will start on pole, as you said there, Carl, for race 2. Let's just quickly go through the top 50, or top 20, in fact, of that first race, as I'm now watching a wonderful sight of all 4 of Ben Tusting's team cars now running in a lovely formation at the end of the race, just to celebrate that victory. So Ben Tusting, as we said, takes the victory by an incredible 5.2 seconds, and to pull that much of a gap out with that much clear track just shows you how quick Ben Tusting is. He's really putting himself into the shop window as a serious championship contender in this BSR Carrera Cup. Armando Iapalumbo gets second place, although rather controversial after the contact with Michael Booth. Anders Dahl finds himself on the podium just by staying close and getting himself into clean air after managing to pass some of the cars that were down. Starting from 5th on the grid, comes up and eventually finishes 3rd. Great drive from Anders Dahl to maintain his championship lead. Nick Tyson finishes 4th. Riccardo Schiavone for GT Italia is 6th. James Yates is Schiavone is 5th. James Yates is 6th. Angelo Di Mella, who is Anders Dahl's closest championship rival at the moment, is 7th. Although with the win from Tyson, that's about to change. Simon Trendle is 8th. Jamie Wilson 9th. Michael Booth has to settle for 10th after the last lap contact. Then Paul Thurston comes home in 11th, just ahead of Stefan Hug in 12th. Matt Malone in 13th, who I believe is actually, he has a Twitch channel. I think it's Showdown 1983, I think. So go and check him out. He has on board a lot of streams. Go and check him out. He should be one to watch on that one. Matt Malone 13th. Luigi Nespolino in 14th place, Bradley Selmez in 15th, and Chris Atherton in 16th, Robert Plumley 17th, Tero Dahlberg in 18th, Diego Comuni, despite starting at the front, battled his way back to 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Patrice Longley in the 29 car. The top 20 separated by 47 seconds at the end of the first 8-lap race. And the best thing is, we're going to do it all again twice over. So, to watch race 2 at Road America, round 11 of the championship, just click back onto the main BSR page, click the video for round 10, and of course we'll be back in a few minutes to give you all the action. Back in 2.